When the conversation turns to Sacramento heavy music, Deftones often dominate the story. But lurking in the shadows, louder, heavier, and far less interested in the spotlight was Willhaven. Formed in 1995, they emerged at a time when America's heavy music scene was in a strange holding pattern. Thrash had traded in its speed and fury for groove and radio friendliness. Grunge had already aged into arena rock introspection, and new metal was just starting to blend rap cadences with punk aggression. Willhaven didn't fit into any of these molds. They weren't trend chasing, and they weren't interested in compromise. Their sound was and remains dense, punishing, and emotionally raw, unbent by industry pressures or passing scenes. Over 3 decades, they've built a legacy not through mass media hype, but through sheer force of will. Today, we look back at 30 years of noise, chaos, and endurance with one of heavy music's most underappreciated legends, the band Willhaven. Please welcome Jeff, Mike, and Wayne to the show. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
Is that
Great intro, man.
Was that a decent intro?
Yeah,
That was legit.
Well, I wanted to give you guys your proper due because I feel that when people think of Sacramento as a Bay Area native, as a person that's been to Sacramento more times than I can count, 4 shows, it does. I think the scenes are incestuous a little bit, Sac and the Bay. Did you guys spend some time in the early days coming down to the Bay Area playing shows at like Berkeley Square and places like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's where we had to go to see shows because bands wouldn't come through Sacramento.
Yeah.
What was your spot back in the day? The Sac spot where you guys
Sac
played
spot?
shows?
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, Cattle Club.
Cattle Club. Okay,
Yep.
that was it.
Bojangles. No, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah, I think Cattle Club was like the only spot I really think. I mean, then there were a couple ones open up after that, Capitol Garage and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, they had the boardwalk,
Scratch
but
Gate.
that wasn't. Yeah, that was later
Was the,
too.
was the
but
boardwalk around back then?
Oh, yeah.
It was, but it wasn't. It was catered to more like the rock, like the more glam
metal-
rock bands.
metal
Yeah,
bands,
like the
Tesla.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Well, they were probably playing the boardwalk back then.
Totally.
Yeah. They were already big then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were already.
Yeah,
they were
They were selling
huge.
our arenas in 90.
Yeah.
All those bands had that moment where they had a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the state fair circuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, the Cattle Club was it. That's like everybody came through there, Inside Out, and
Tool.
who else? Nirvana. Yeah, like that was it. That's where like the Deftones filmed like a couple of videos, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
Oh wow.
that was it. That was the spot.
Was there a sense of mutual support between all you Sacramento bands, Deftones, Far, you guys, or was it more like friendly rivalry?
We all live in the same house.
Yeah, they lived in the.
We all lived together.
Really?
Yeah, me, Mike, and Mike and Sean Lopez from Far, now who's in Crosses. We moved in together, 92?
Yeah.
And so Far was just kind of still a newer local band. And Willhaven wasn't even around. Like, it wasn't even a thought back then. And so me and Mike would just go hang out with Far guys all the time. And of course, I met Chino through my friend Todd, and Deftones were kind of a newer upcoming band too. So there was no competition yet. We were just all friends hanging out. And then each band started, or Far and Deftones started getting a little more bigger in Sacramento. And I don't know if they had a little competitive rivalry, but we didn't. Like, we were still hanging out like pretty much roadieing for them. Like, there was no.
Yeah, we were driving.
We were just
on tour.
Yeah, we were just driving their crap around. So
yeah.
So what? Yeah, between us, but no, like, we've all been super close friends, and even to this day, like, we're still super tight. Everybody's still super tight. It's like, even though all these bands have kind of gone their own direction, everybody, like, nothing's changed. Like, if we go hang out with Abe or Chino or Sean or whoever, it's still the same as it was back when we were hanging out as kids. So it's different. It's not like a normal band rivalry at all.
I noticed that about the Bay Area thrash scene. I got to know a lot of those guys. I was telling you briefly off air that I lived in a space where a lot of those bands practiced. And one of the things that kind of, I don't know the right word for it, was interesting to me. I don't know if that's the right word, was a certain level of camaraderie between those dudes, where if one would be in town, everybody would come down and say, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool. Right?
That's funny because there was one spot to practice too, and that was Matt Eric's, and everybody practiced there. So,
Yeah.
and I think we all got like hand-me-downs from each other too. It was like, guitars and amps and stuff. They all got handed down and switched around by, like Mike had like Johnny from Far's bass cabinets, and
That caught on fire.
Yeah, it caught on fire. So, yeah.
Sorry, Johnny.
Yeah,
So-
like, I actually still have one of Sean's cabinets from back in the far days. So yeah,
We got their
it was-
hand-me-downs.
it was totally a family vibe. Like we're all roommates, we all hung out. Like, yeah, it was a very special thing to have like that many talented people in our little circle of friends. Because even friends that didn't make it as big as Deftones, they're all still doing really, really well. Like in either industry or starting new bands or. Yeah, it's like when I look back at our little group of friends, like it's insane, like the stuff that people have done, like outside of our little group. It's pretty wild.
When the Deftones blew up and labels started sniffing around Sacramento, did you guys ever feel pressure, either from the industry or just local expectations, to soften your sound or make it more marketable?
No, hell no.
So
It was kind of the opposite, because I think
Yeah.
sticking to our own thing, like Blue Haven didn't start until like I think right when Deftones got signed, right?
Yeah, they were already
We
signed.
started
Yeah.
like right when they signed to Maverick, so they took us out. We opened up for them on like an LA show, like a little club show, and then by the time Around the Fur came out, our first record had just come out, and that's when we went on tour with them. So, yeah, no, I think we were just always our thing, and I think that's why, maybe that's why the Deftones even took us out, because we were our own. I mean, not only because we were friends with them, but we were doing our own thing, and I think they appreciated that we weren't trying to sound like them or Far, but we easily could have.
Yeah.
Like, we were just kind of blazing our own path, and like that's cool, like that's something we can admire or whatever. So yeah, we never tried to copy any of our friends. Like that was kind of like a no.
Do you think that has more to do with kind of the age cohort that everybody is in, where biting is so looked down upon and originality is something that you have to have?
totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And we might have had a couple different influences they had too. Like, they had their influences, but, the four of us, including Grady, we were really like into Neurosis and Bloodlet and like Coalesce and just all these weird like hardcore bands. And that's kind of where we stemmed our sound from, whereas where Deftones might have had different influences when they were starting their sound. So it was just a different era that we started our band in than they did. So naturally, we were just kind of probably going to be a little different than they were anyways.
But even though Neurosis, you guys were talking about Neurosis briefly when we were off air as well. And look, I'm a big Neurosis fan. That being said, I've never tried to sound like them. And there's a bunch of people that they're Neurosis fans because they sound like fucking Neurosis. We won't name names, but we know who. I should write it in the private chat. You guys, to me, I don't hear any of that in your sound.
We hit it really well, man.
Yeah,
Well, because Neurosis is like, how do you explain it? Because you're probably talking about the Through Silver and
Yeah. Through Silver
like,
and
that's
Black.
like 90. That's like 95, 96.
Yeah, Soul Zero, Enemy of the Sun. Yeah,
and there's a certain sound they have where they're heavy.
Yeah.
But it's also they have these just long instrumental passages of chill. It's almost atmospheric.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much the sound we were trying to steal; it was definitely the vibe, because Neurosis has a vibe about them. They were very dark, heavy, but very dark, and also very authentic. And I think that was what we were trying to like. What we were captivated by was authenticity of it, of like how a band could be so heavy but so real. I mean, we toured with those guys a couple times, and like those guys off stage are the same as they are on stage. So, like they're the real deal, and I think that's what we really looked up to. Is like they're heavy, they're dark, but they're just like got this cool vibe about them, and I think that was very, inspiring to us, like coming up as a new band. Like, all right, this is kind of what we want to feel or think about when we start writing stuff, and keep that dark, edgy feel to it, but not try to like be cheesy about it.
I think Neurosis was about like trying to scare people, and I think we were kind of in that vein, like trying to be heavy and kind of scare people. I remember writing early on with Jeff, and we were always trying to get people to like bob their heads and then throw something out of whack, so that they're like, "Oh, where's the beat?" kind of thing. So that was kind of Neurosis too. And then you said it earlier, but you were talking about like the slow kind of grungy kind of stuff. I want to take credit for that because I can't play fast beats. So that's why we got stuck playing, that slow, heavy kind of stuff. So that just
all out of necessity.
That's my thing. Yeah, exactly. So